The woman you see about to be interrogated by the police goes by many names. In fact, she has used almost 24 different names over the span of 2 decades. It turns out that her real name is Kimberly Kessler, and the police believe that she took the life of a coworker named Jolene Cummings.
Are you sleepy?
No, not at all.
Okay. I am. I'm sleepy. My name's Wayne. This is Charlie.
Hey,
We want to talk to you for a few minutes. What name do you want me to call you? Because I was talking to the detective that drove you up, and he said I might have been calling you by the wrong name.
It's funny that St. John's didn't tell you. When you run my fingerprints through, they come up as Kimberly Lee Kessler. I was born in May of 1968, May 9th. I am 50 years old. I've been running from the FBI for over 25 years. I've been living under this particular alias since 1999, so not quite 1999. This is 18, yeah, about 19 years. And that's about it. So I would prefer to be called Kim.
Okay.
But
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm calling you by your right name.
But if you run them through, I mean, the last time I got picked up was back in 1999, and I bonded out, and it took them, I don't remember, it was a couple weeks, I don't know if it was 2.5 weeks or 3.5 weeks before they actually, matched them up. Yeah, it didn't but that was 1999, so maybe it was a little bit slower then.
Okay.
But I don't know, there's lots of people on the face of the planet, so maybe it still takes time. I'm not sure.
And it may be too that since you've had this alias for so long, you've probably done a lot of stuff since that time, and so you've actually kind of got you've got a history under that name, so it probably shows up in different databases and stuff like that. And that's just a guess, and maybe that's why it's happening like that.
Oh no, fingerprints are fingerprints.
Fingerprints are fingerprints, and I agree. but I have.
I didn't erase them with acid, so they are the same. Just saying.
And I agree with you, but I haven't run your fingerprints. And if St. John's did, they failed to notify us that of the different names. So I apologize.
Perhaps they just thought I was a nut job, so they just ignored me. But
In 2004, Kimberly disappeared from her home in Pennsylvania and began using different names that she found on tombstones in various graveyards. Over the course of 25 years, she would move around constantly, changing her name when someone became too suspicious of her. Kimberly worked at different hair salons all over Florida, and she would eventually end up at the Tangles Hair Salon, where Jolene Cummings also worked. When Jolene met Kimberly, she thought she was very strange, and she began looking into her past. Jolene's curiosity would ultimately lead to her death.
Does your family know you, or you don't want your family?
I haven't. No, that's fine. I haven't talked to them in a while. I have cousins and all that. All my people are.
Do you not want to spend time with them anymore, or just?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm ready to go back to being myself. I spent about 25 years running from the FBI and thought I could build a life for myself, and I've done nothing. I've been living I've been trying. I've been living in my car for the last over 2 years. Okay. It's not getting any better.
Okay. I would like to know, and I'm not the FBI, I'm not a federal law enforcement agent or anything like that, but, I kind of like to hear the background of why, for the last 25 years.
Pull it all up. Pull it up on the computer. Pull my name up. Pull it up. Kimberly Kessler.
And
you should be able to pull that up.
What I'll do
It'll be fascinating.
If you'll give me a minute, I will step outside, and my crime analyst is actually here, and I'll give her that information and let her work on that.
Yeah, Kimberly Lee Kessler. It's kind of a silly middle name, isn't it? It's like my mom stuttered. I'm just saying, I never really cared for it.
On May 14th, 2018, Jolene had been reported missing by her mother after failing to meet her ex-husband and pick up her 3 children. It wouldn't take very long for the police to find Jolene's SUV abandoned at a local Home Depot. After checking the surveillance footage, expecting to see Jolene, they instead saw Kimberly exit the vehicle and walk away. Several days later, they would find Kimberly in her car at a rest area, parked between 2 semi-trucks. It appeared she had been living in her car for quite some time. Kimberly would be arrested for grand theft auto because she had been seen driving Jolene's car.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just time. I'm 50 years old. I am 50, and I'm
think that's quite.
It doesn't matter. Looks are deceiving, obviously. Some people look young, some people look whatever. It doesn't even matter.
You have children?
I do. I have a son. He is in North Carolina with his father. That's what got me going, running again in 1999. Child Protective Services snatched him while I was at work from the babysitter, and that really sent me over the edge. So, thankfully, his father got him. He told me that the judge told him, or the judge said to CPS, "Why won't you give this man his son? Like, why are you fighting against him?" And the judge made him get our son. And so, thankfully, my son is 20 years old now. I haven't seen him since he was 14 months old. I'm very grateful that his father got to raise him. I did not want him in foster care. It scared me to death. I couldn't even understand why they took him. So that sent me on my last 19-year run. He was born in 1998. My son is Evan Everett Brooke, and I was under the name Christina Brooke at the time. Yeah, the names go on, don't they?
Wow.
And yep, 25 years. I mentioned I've been running from the FBI. They'll have a list of everything. So
how long have you been cutting hair?
I've been cutting hair since I was a kid, but I actually got into the professional with a license 4 years ago.
I guess that works well if you're moving around a lot. I guess it's
No, you can wait tables or whatever. I have driven tractor and trailer, which I did in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Did I mention I'm wanted in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Arizona?
Yeah.
I also had a real estate license in Arizona. It goes on and on. So I just thought to myself, I'm going to make money. Well, no. It requires a special blessing from God. It also requires help. What I noticed in the last 25 years of being on my own, especially after my son was taken, I didn't let anybody get really too close to me. I did get into abusive relationships. That was foolish. And then I really kept everybody at arm's length, but never really let too many people get close to me. It is virtually impossible to take care of oneself by yourself. You can't do it.
It's funny because
you gotta have somebody. You gotta have a wife, or you gotta have people. You can't do it by yourself. So
it's amazing though that for 25. I mean, it's amazing to me that because you always hear about people going, "Oh my gosh, I just want to start over. I just want to be somebody else. I just want a whole new identity."
No,
but then if you ever really look into it, I mean, it's
complicated.
It's complicated.
It's very complicated. It's very complicated. So yeah.
What is your son? Now, were you married to the guy that you had?
No.
Okay.
No.
So do they know that you're? I mean, where do they?
They know I'm running. They know I'm running.
So,
He's probably angry about it. I gave him before I left. All I had to give him was an old Volkswagen Bug that I had. I was driving this. It was nice. They had a nice. The year Bug. It was I don't know. It's all put together. So I think it was on the title maybe a '68 or something like that. It had a bus engine in it, a 1776 dual Gallardo car, blah blah blah, whatever. But it was nice, cute or whatever, but shiny. And
now, 68, was that a split window? Was it a split?
I don't remember. All I remember was blue. And I could never do any work on it myself at all. Nothing. I couldn't even change the oil. It complicated. It was
they're different. It's got that air-cooled engine, and
quarter turn. What? I never understood it.
The first thing you will notice is how charming and approachable Kimberly is. She is able to laugh and joke with the detectives as she tells stories from her past. This is one of many characteristics of a psychopath called superficial charm. Psychopaths are often very likable on the surface. They are good at making conversation, and they enjoy sharing stories that make them look good. As the interrogation plays out, you will see many more psychopathic characteristics being portrayed by Kimberly Kessler.
That's one of my first relationships in Arizona. He robbed banks, and I met him. I was working as a topless dancer, and that was before my truck driving debut. So, and I did that just for a little while. I love to dance, and I don't know. I was young, and
Kimberly tries to manipulate the detectives by telling them that she was once a topless dancer and that she loves to dance. Her goal is to make the detectives like her, and she knows that most men enjoy a sensual woman. You will notice that one of the detectives will play into her manipulation throughout the interrogation.
So I met him at a topless bar in Phoenix, and just started going out with him and whatever. And he was with me whenever he called somebody and they said the FBI is looking for you, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And then he tells me everything. "Oh, I robbed these banks." So I'm like, "You what?" Wow. Here's me. Where's the money?
So
He had no money, and I hid him in my apartment, and that was like kind of almost the beginning.
are you going to write a book one day?
I don't even know if anyone believes me.
You
But the
gotta have-
FBI has a record, so you know it's true, okay? Look it up. It sounds like a bunch of crap. Look it up. They have a record. It's true.
You've got an interesting story. That's
But he had where I was going with that, he had a Baja bug. So,
wow. So was that, and you said that was when it all first started. Is that when you kind of first went on the run?
no, I had two IDs at the time. I had myself and then my other ID. And I kind of started. I got my real estate license, and then that's when it started because I used my other ID and I got printed. And I had been printed once before. What was I printed once before for? I don't know. Pull it up. It's kind of like, just pull it up.
Well, you've done pretty good being around for
25 years, thank you.
It's tiring.
I'm 50, man.
It's got to be tiring though. You know, it's like.
Where's your favorite place at? Obviously, you travel around a lot.
I traveled a little bit. I don't know. See, like, I was always like looking for that heaven on earth, but there is no heaven on earth. So, and there's no perfect place.
Especially when you're by yourself, it's got to be tough to
I'm pretty good by myself. Like, I just do a lot of prayer, so I always feel like I have God with me. But God wasn't really with me, because if He was, I would have made that money. But my granny and Pat,
God's
they
with all
made
of us.
money.
I believe that personally. I really do.
Well, He gives us a chance for sure.
Absolutely.
But He didn't
Absolutely.
bless me. Like, He didn't care how hard I worked. It was like minimum wage, less than minimum wage. I'm like, eh.
Are you okay if I ask my crime analyst to run the names?
Please do.
Because
Run
I'm
my
curious.
friends again.
Now you got my
I'm glad I sparked your
curiosity.
interest. I didn't make it up. I didn't make it up. Print me again.
You're not joking with me, right? You're not.
No, do it, please. You'll see my mug. I'll look a lot younger then.
Okay.
And thinner too. I won't be 200 pounds. I'll be about 20.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir. You know?
I'm making any difference. You can fit in the pants and zippers, not me.
Give me the full name.
Kimberly.
Kimberly.
Stupid middle name Lee.
Lee,
Oh
yeah.
God. Kessler.
Kessler.
Just like the cheap whiskey that no one drinks.
Guess how old I'm gonna be this year? 50.
Good for you.
Guess what day?
Big 5-0.
Mine is 9. I turned 50, and well, you just had a birthday.
I just did. Yeah, I just
Okay,
turned
mine's in
50.
September.
Okay.
So, yeah.
My mom was born in September. She
So-
was
so
born
was mine.
September 9th.
My mom's
1948.
My mom's is September 10th.
Really? That's interesting.
I'm a September guy too.
Okay. Let me ask you this: If I'm gonna, I want to sit here and talk to you because you're fascinating. But if
Pull up the report from the FBI.
if I'm gonna go in there and pull it up, and you're wanted by the FBI,
I am wanted by the FBI.
Okay,
Minimum.
are you right with me Mirandizing you in case I get back here and you're
Too
wanted for
much
something?
me? Sorry, what?
Reading you your rights. If you're wanted by the FBI,
Go
I'll
ahead.
come back in and talk to
That's
you.
fine.
Let me read this to you real quick, and then I'm gonna walk this out and let her see if you're playing a joke on me or not.
No, I'm not. You'll see.
All right.
Print me.
All right. Have you ever had your Miranda rights written to you before?
Yeah, of course.
That's a
You'll
reason.
see.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Read to you. Read to you.
Read to you before?
Yeah.
Obviously, look at
I'm just in here
my.
to help him out. That's why I was keeping an eye on him.
Okay. So you understand what I read to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me go drop this off. I'll be right back.
Yay! Good job, gentlemen.
We'll be back with you, Kim.
All right, I'll be right here.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say.
The detectives leave the room to go check Kimberly's criminal history and see exactly why she is wanted by the FBI. Kimberly claims that she has an extensive criminal record that has spanned over 25 years, so the detectives are very curious about what they may find. When the detectives re-enter the room, they explain that all they have found so far is just a missing persons report from 2004. The detectives find this very strange because Kimberly claims to have been on the run from the FBI for 25 years, which is why she changed her name so many times.
Wow, Kim.
I didn't lie.
Well, she's still working on stuff, but she found this right away.
Oh, my
Is that
people.
you?
Yeah, that's me. I was a lot younger then. Stop taking them back and. Yeah, squinting my eyes. You know what? She wanted me to open my eyes there in Tennessee because they wanted to scan them and I wouldn't open them. See how
Really?
squinty my eyes are? The woman kept saying,
What, you
open
talking about
your
this
eyes,
one?
open your eyes. No, this one, open your
I was
eyes.
gonna say, your eyes look up
Open
and
your
down.
eyes. Why
Is
not?
that a driver's license photo?
Yep, open your eyes. I wouldn't do it. I was like, kept them squinted until she finally gave in and took the picture. Because I didn't want my eyes scanned.
It's not,
That's me with short hair.
it's
Took
not
short
saying
hair.
that you're wanted though, it's just saying that you're a missing person. Why would you be
No,
wanted?
no. I have aliases. I have IDs. I was Christina Brooke whenever I had my son Evan Brooke.
Well,
I was
what name
Melissa
are you wanted under
McKernan.
though?
I am Kimberly Kessler. That's
No, but you said you're wanted. You've been running from the FBI. Why? What do you?
So whenever they snatched my son, I went out and bought a gun.
Okay.
And whenever I went to visit my son, I planned on taking him. I never made it to see him. That he wasn't there anyways, and I got arrested for having a gun.
Oh, what state was that in?
Virginia. And that's when another time whenever the run began. But I also was running, let's see, so in Arizona, I used the ID Melissa McKernan. Pull it up. It should come up. Melissa McKernan, and went for the real estate license. And there you get fingerprinted. Well, I was fingerprinted once before as Kimberly Kessler for trouble I'd gotten into prior. So whenever it ran through, you know, they're like, I got in trouble. They were looking for me then. They're like, we show you these fingerprints come up as Kimberly Kessler, but you say you're Melissa McKernan. I'm like, So, so it started. It just goes on and on. Now, that's probably my mother saying I'm a missing person. I'm not missing. I'm just...
Yeah, that's the only thing. You know, well, like I said, she's still looking, but immediately whenever she puts your real name in, this is the first thing that popped up, and I looked at it and I said, I can see the smile. And I can kind of see it in the nose, especially in the black and white picture, because it's a little bit clearer than the one on the right. Did you have red hair at one point in time?
I did all sorts of things to my hair, of course. I'm a girl. I'm going to do that.
Wow. But like I said, I don't see where, as far as them saying you're wanted anywhere. I mean, she can run it on further out.
Now, when you got
I'm
arrested
wanted in
for-
Arizona for, I guess, just fraud because I am Kim Kessler and
Just because of
I
trying to get
got
the license.
fingerprints. I did get the license.
Oh.
They issued it to me, and then later they came back with fingerprints. It took longer to run through in like the early '90s. It took like months, so maybe even longer than that. And then they came back and they're like, and the FBI. They actually, I don't know how I got the message, but I called him and he was like, I'm blah 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 with the FBI, and I'm like, and he's like, are you Melissa McKernan? I'm like, yes. And he's like, well, I also show you as Kimberly Kessler. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, what did you do? And I couldn't remember. All I could say, I think all I said was like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. And I hung up on him. And then I had my boyfriend take me to the airport and I flew back to Virginia.
Wow.
That was
Well, what
that.
was the charge in Virginia? Do they have a carrying? Was it just
Virginia's
concealed
probably
weapon,
for
or
the weapon thing, and then they're still trying to do something with it. They were
is
trying
it
to
illegal
take.
to have a weapon in Virginia, or just?
I think probably whenever you're going to, I plan on taking my son back. That's what I
Did you
plan on
bond
doing.
out, or did you do time?
I bonded out, so I never went back for any.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you probably
that too.
You may
There's
have a
lots of
failure
things.
to appear then, or something.
That as well. But I'm just very grateful that my son went with a family member with his father because I was terrified of what they were going to do to him. I'm like, what? Why do you want my son? It made no sense. I mean, you may not believe me on that, whatever, but I'm telling you, to me as a mother, I'm like, take my son.
So
I'm
far,
like,
what
stop.
you know, when we first started talking, I'm like, she's, but
No, I
honestly,
am.
There's some, you know.
And that, I can't believe it. Come on, you can't pull me up. You need to print me.
No, they're working on that. But I was
It
like,
shouldn't
that's
take
not-
that long. It's a computer.
okay.
It's 2018.
Yeah, well,
It's not
we
1992.
I actually had to call our crowd analyst back in. She was probably like, it's Friday night. So,
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah, so she's probably not happy with me right now.
Sorry.
No, it's not. No, it's all right.
I told them
She'll get paid overtime.
St.
for it.
John's ignored it. I'm like, okay. Whenever I went before whoever, I told him my name is. I've been running from the FBI forever. I think I said with him only 20 years, but it's longer than that.
Was that the judge or one of the detectives down there?
I don't know, wherever they take you in before somebody. So I was with all these other people we stood, I guess, before a judge. I mean, but I said, my name is Kimberly Lee Kessler. My birthday, I've been running from the FBI forever.
Well, I appreciate you being honest with us.
Told him, and I think he just laughed at me. And he said something else and told me to sit down. So
He probably was like, you know, didn't believe you. He's probably thinking, because we get, I've been this,
Brittany, I didn't erase it with acid. It crossed my mind, but I thought, how can I work with my hands all like...
The strange thing about the missing persons report is that it was filed by her mother 8 years after she disappeared. Why did her mother wait 8 years to file the report?
You got to have a tremendous amount of intestinal fortitude, because you're like, to do what you've been doing for the last 25 years, you're strong.
And it wasn't easy, because my childhood was, not to give the old childhood story, but my childhood was like, my mom is something. She nearly killed me, that woman. She used to beat us until we stopped crying. Really? So yeah, I can control tears. I can control tears to the point of extreme amounts of pain, because that's what I've been, that's how she does it. I've seen some horrible things too that she did. It was like really kind of mean, but at any rate, so that's how I was raised. So, and I was an honor roll student. I went to high school up until like a month before I was supposed to graduate, and then something terrible befell me that I never was expelled or got any, never even got detention. I was an honor roll student. I was a cheerleader, but my mom started like acting crazy on me, and I started hanging out with the crowd that would take me in, which is what we called back in the 80s. I graduated, or would have graduated in 86. The burnout crowd, because their parents are lenient. My mom threw me out. They're like, yeah, you can crash over here. Heck yeah, I'm tired. It's cold. I have no coat. I gotta be at school. I dropped out all my higher classes, the calculus and all that. I dropped out of everything and took like
What state were you in high school?
Pennsylvania. So I took the lower classes, home ec. Like stuff where you don't have to do homework, or very rarely. I took all the easy classes. I had everything I needed to graduate. I just needed to make it. So I took everything easy, lots of study halls, because my mom was acting crazy. I'm like, so I can, I didn't miss school, but I didn't have much required of me when I made it. So that was easier.
When my senior year in high school, I graduated in 86 as well.
Of course, because we're the same age.
Yeah, and I had all the required courses I needed except for one. I needed literature.
What?
And I had everything. And so,
I took that in the 9th grade.
And so my senior year, I had literature first period. The rest of the day, I was like, I had shop. I was a coach's aide. I had just totally.
Why did you take easy classes?
And I loved it. It was a great senior year. But I got to tell you, when I went to college, I regretted it because I had never taken. And it sounds weird.
So much.
We never had to have algebra to graduate when I graduated high school. I don't know if it was that
I took algebra
but we didn't have to have it here. And when I went to college, I'm telling you, the only class stand between me and my college degree is algebra, because it just kicks my ass.
It's not bad. 7th grade algebra, 8th grade algebra 2, 9th grade geometry, and then I was supposed to be calculus 10th grade, and that's when she started acting whack, and I'm like, oh, I gotta drop
That's what got me was math too.
I like math. It represents numbers, money.
Some people have a mathematical type brain, and some people just, that's my opinion. And I can do normal math, but
you can do it. You just didn't want to. You could have done it. You could have done it. You could have done it. This is what I did in college, because I ended up taking pre-calc, I guess, or whatever. And I would do the homework like 2 and 3 times. Like, do it over, write out, and again. Until I, kind of memorized it, I guess. Until I felt comfortable. And then, by the time I took the test, I had all the whatever formulas kind of, in my brain. So, I would get an A. And there were kids in the class way smarter. They had this IQ that was like a nuclear bomb, right? Huge. And they were failing. I'm like, are you kidding me, jokers? Because it was, but it was just kind of brute memorization, repetition, writing something on the chalkboard 50 times or 100 times, just over and over. But it got me through it. So, if I can do it, I know you can do it. You just didn't feel like it. That's what I'm saying.
I did feel like high school. Because I did in high school when I was younger, and, it would have, they say when you're younger it's a little easier to learn. I don't know if that's true or not.
And always get a tutor.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back and kick that algebra's ass one day. It's on my bucket list to
if I did it right, I would have had graduate in summer school. But I'm a summer school graduate.
Good for you.
But and you talking about tired of running and turning things around. It sounds like to me if anybody could do it, you could probably.
What's the next chapter for you?
Another characteristic of a psychopath is their ability to tell lies to look good or get out of trouble. Sometimes they will use lies to manipulate another person into producing a reaction they are looking for. The detectives ask Kimberly what her future plans are, and she decides to tell them a false story about the father of her son. Watch as Kimberly creates a lie almost instantly and tells the lie with very few pauses.
I mean, what's...
I don't even know. I am so grateful my son is alive and well. You don't have any idea. I was so scared. His dad, no one's perfect, right? So, I don't know. We all have our whatever. There's some stories I could probably tell, but he told me that with his sister-in-law that I couldn't believe, and I saw it on the news later. Whoa, curl some hair. I might hold that back for the FBI. Unbelievable, because after I saw it years later, because I don't have a TV, and I see it on the internet or whatever, and I'm like, I remember him telling me about that. They really did that. Oh my God, did you ever have that?
Well, you may have some stuff that you can help out with that can help you with the situations you're in.
I don't know, but I'm grateful my son's alive and well. I'm so grateful. So grateful. And his dad, one of the things his dad did whenever Evan was like 3 months old, and I don't even know why. I think he was on drugs. He always said he wasn't, but he acted so wild. And his dad took us, and he was just acting kind of crazy, and he's like, give me Evan. It was at night. And I'm like, for what? Like, he was never even interested in the baby before. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, for what? Like, give me the baby. I'm like, for what? And he goes to, like, grab him, and I'm like, he's 3 months old. You can't wrestle over a 3-month-old. They're fragile.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And he just took his head and like pushed it up, and I didn't want to like resist because it's the baby, and he pushed his head into my head, not very hard, but it made him cry, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, he just did that, and it was the only thing that he ever did that, you know, was like nasty, but I'm like, I'm gonna call the police, you need to go, what is wrong with you? And he was just kind of, but here's the thing. Evan's alive and well. He didn't kill him.
Do you plan on trying to reconcile with Evan?
That's my baby. That's my son. That's my only
When's the last time you saw
child.
him?
He was a baby. I don't know, 14 months, 15 months.
Their conversation with Kimberly lasts over an hour, and she has not asked why she has been arrested or when she will be released. Instead, she has spent the hour doing her best to manipulate the detectives into liking her. She may be hoping that it will pay off in the end, or perhaps she has spent the majority of her life manipulating people, so it just comes naturally. The detectives decide it's time to switch topics and ask her if she knows why she has been arrested.
Thinking of all the map, do you know why you're here?
Yes, I'm being accused. You accused me the other night of, you're like, where's Jolene at? So, and I do not know where she is.
Okay.
I have no idea.
You know, and the other night, and I think I apologized to you the other night because, you know, when I talk to you and tell you that family means a lot to me, you know, a couple days ago I met Jolene's 2 sons, and I mean, they were literally, I call it, and it's probably not the best term to use because people will look at it and go, that's kind of a prejudice statement, and I don't mean it that way. But, you know, my mom, when I was a kid, she'd say, stop running around like a wild Indian. I mean, that's what it reminded me of, because her 2 little kids were just, literally, I'm standing there, and one of them's running between my legs, just running around, and they're all over the floor, and I'm like, you know, they were running around like wild Indians. I don't mean that in a negative way. And it was just, you know, it broke my heart, because I was like, you know, where is she? It's, you know, she had been reported missing. They said, you know, there's no way that she's not going to be with her kids. And so I probably come across harsh when I talked to you the other day. And for that, you know, I didn't mean anything by it. But like I said, I want to know, I want to be able to find her, and I want to be able to get her back with her little boy. It's just like, you need to go and be with Evan. She needs to be with her kids, okay? So again, if I come across, you know,
you're just doing your job. I understand.
But it's more, it is my job, but at the same time, I try not to let your, you know, in my job, you try not to let your emotions get involved, but sometimes, even, I've been doing it for 21 years, sometimes I let things get to me that I shouldn't let get to me, and at least until later on when I'm not trying to have a conversation with somebody. You know, you kind of put those things to the side and you worry about them later. and maybe I didn't do a good job of that when I started talking to you.
You're fine. Feelings are just kind of a funny thing, because I was raised by kind of stout German people that are like, suck it up, you don't show feelings, I'll beat you until you stop crying. So we're like, we finally learned. It only took a couple beatings, we're like, okay, we got this under control. But feelings are like a funny thing, because you got to somehow deal with them. And I've never really quite figured that one out. Like, where do you stuff them? Well, I stuff them in different places, then I end up stuffing my face, because I'm going to do something wrong to, like, try to quelch that. Because we all have, you know, feelings that aren't positive. Not everyone's happy. I mean, we all have things in our life, you know? So, and I stuff it with food, which is not good, and other people do it with drugs and alcohol or whatever. The right way to do it is, like, going to the gym.
Before this interrogation took place, the police had begun their investigation into the disappearance of Jolene Cummings. Besides the surveillance footage showing Kimberly leaving Jolene's car at the Home Depot, they would find DNA evidence as well. Jolene's DNA would be found in Kimberly's car, on her clothes, and all over Tangle's hair salon. Cameras placed behind the salon would show Kimberly leaving the salon with large heavy bags that she would throw into the dumpster. A local Walmart would also provide video footage showing Kimberly buying large trash bags, cleaning supplies, and an electric carving knife.
Can we just go through when you worked with her on that Saturday, so I can, is there anything you can tell me that, did she ever talk to you about a boyfriend? I know she's got a husband, I know she had a boyfriend. Did she ever talk about anybody she was scared of? Did she ever say anything that she wanted to run away and get away from it all? I mean, you know.
I don't remember hearing anything. She would have different conversations sometimes with different clients, because different clients, you don't tell every client. You know what I mean? Like, but the one client that, what was it? The one I told you, what was it? She was saying CPS came to her house. She was telling one client that I caught a little blip of it in between listening to YouTube and the phone ringing. And I remember hearing her say she thought her ex-husband or her husband was doing it to get out of paying child support. That's all I heard, and I don't remember ever hearing about a boyfriend ever. But then again, I don't always really pay attention. And as I told you before, Miss Ann, she really talked to Miss Ann. Like, her and Miss Ann would go out back and they smoke cigarettes together. They sit out back sometimes for a while, and they would even forget that their clients were in. I'd have to go to the back and be like, hey, your clients are here, because they would get so involved in talking. So I don't know as much as, maybe Miss Ann. And honestly, whenever I first started, she would tell me, I don't even remember what, she started to tell me some things, and I would be like, I am not the person to ask. I can't give you any good counsel.
Now, did she tell you who she was hanging around with, or was she into anything that maybe she shouldn't have been
She
into?
would just say to me, the time or two that she'd say, I'm just going home and having a quiet night at home, or I don't have the kids tonight, or whatever, I'm just going to enjoy this. And I'd be like, you're young, why don't you go out? She's like, no, I don't need a man in my life. But here she had a boyfriend. I didn't even know that.
Was she involved in any bad habits or anything that could get her in trouble?
I can't say that she did, but I did find a bag that I believe had crystal meth in it, just a little bit in the bottom, a tiny baggie back by the back door. At first I thought, well, maybe it's Vicky's daughter, whatever her name is, Whitney, because I heard she had a drug habit, but hers is opiate, and that's not crystal meth. So, and I didn't even know what it was at first. And it was actually Jolene who said, that's a drug baggie. And I'm like, really? She said, yeah, that's drugs. She goes, do you know what kind of drugs it is? I said, I don't know. It could be bath salts. They look kind of like crystals. And I ended up looking up on the internet, and I believe it was crystal meth.
How much was it?
Just a little bit in the bottom, but enough that you could see it was crystals. And I'm like, and then as I started watching YouTube videos and trying to get myself educated on drugs, the behaviors and so forth, I'm like, well, maybe it was Jolene's. But at first I didn't think it was hers. I thought it was maybe Vicky's daughter, Whitney, because Whitney has a drug problem, but I didn't know exactly what at the time. And then later I found out it's Whitney likes opiates and heroin. She doesn't.
Kimberly creates the narrative that Jolene was a drug addict, and perhaps her addiction is what led to her disappearance. What's interesting is Kimberly doesn't change her body language or her voice when she tells this obvious lie. She's either become very good at lying, or everything she said during this interrogation has been one big lie.
Did you guys ever hang out after work? Did you ever go anywhere together? Okay. She ever allowed to use your car? You allowed to use her car? Did you ever go anywhere together like that?
No.
Okay.
But you asked me all that before and I answered before. So
Okay. I was.
that's all right. I mean,
I think when we were, the charge you were arrested on is a grand theft auto charge. You knew that, correct?
yes.
Okay. And that was kind of what I was talking with you about the other day. And the reason you're charged with that is because whenever we talked about that, there's video of you dropping her car off at the Home Depot parking lot there in Yulee and walking across and going into the gate station and getting a taxi cab back down to, they had it listed as Dick's Wings, but it was back down there to where Tangles is, okay? And that's why you're charged with a grand theft auto. And I'm not trying to trick you, I'm not trying to fool you. You're opening up to me and I'm opening up to you, okay? That's the reason you're charged with that. You're not charged with anything else, okay? But something happened to Jolene, and we actually sent our crime scene unit out to process Tangles, and there was some evidence there, okay? We have also, and I don't want you to think I've been fooling you. I just want to talk to you and get to know you a little bit because I think something.
What's your name?
Something that you didn't plan happened, but let me tell you what we did, okay? Because I just want to be honest with you, because I think something bad happened that you didn't intend to happen, but we have, taken a look at your car, and we went out and went to your storage unit on the island, and we did that all on a legal basis. We had search warrants for them all, okay? We've got the video of you when you go in and buy a bottle of water, you bought it on your credit card. You paid for the cab on your credit card. You used the clerk's phone to make the phone call to the cab company. We also have recovered your shoes that has Jolene's blood on your shoes. So I just want you to, if something happened that you didn't intend to happen, I want to talk to you about it. I don't think you're an evil person. I don't think you're a mean person. I think you have done one hell of a job getting through the last 25 years.
They just presented Kimberly with all the evidence they have against her. Usually, a detective will withhold this type of information because they want to hear the suspect's side of the story first. They will then compare the story they just heard with the evidence and then point out the obvious inconsistencies. In this case, the detective hopes that by showing all the evidence, Kimberly will believe that it is pointless to deny her obvious guilt.
And I just want you to be honest with me. You're ready to make a new start. You're ready to start over.
I don't think there's really any new start. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I don't see anything foreseeable great in my life. I give up, man. I give up. I'll keep breathing and praying, and that's about it.
Well, let me tired. Let me put it to you this way.
I don't see anything panning out.
But listen to me. I get it. And I
tried as hard as I could.
I would probably agree with you as far as, that dream life that everybody's going to have is probably at 50 years old with everything that you've been through is probably not going to happen.
No.
But I'll tell you what else what I do believe, and I'm being sincere about this, because I've seen people that I've sit in here and talked to, and like I said, only one out of 100 usually. I'll see them 3 or 4 years later and they'll go, things are great, things are much better. I haven't been in any trouble, I've turned things around. But I have seen a lot of people that when they come in here and we first start talking, they're carrying a big, heavy burden. And you've been carrying not just, I think what recently happened, you've been carrying some other burdens from what you're telling me. I don't see where you want it anywhere else, but...
Oh, I am. I can't believe it hasn't come up yet. The computer's really that slow.
But I've seen it. They may have it in there. She may have it, but I want to talk to you. I don't want to keep up and keep leaving. So she may very well have that now. But I've seen people when they finally go, okay, I'm tired of running. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of being something that I'm not. And, you know, even if it means that they're going to have to make some more sacrifices and some bad stuff's going to come towards them, just the weight off their shoulders. I mean, there's sometimes I sit here and you can literally see them just kind of go, and it's like, I'm ready to tell the truth. I'm ready to do this, you know. And I don't think you're bad. I don't think you're evil. I think and I got to tell you, we've talked to the owner of the business, and I know that she was kind of said some negative things to you that day. She said that she thought you were fake. She thought you were phony, and she was going to look you up. And you know.
I don't remember any of that.
Okay, that's what I was told. That's what. What's the name of the lady that she's got the heart issue that owns the?
Vicky.
Vicky.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. It was not Vicky. It was. I said that wrong. I apologize. There's a Asian woman that works there a couple of days a week. She was there. She was there that day. I apologize. It was not the owner. She said that there was not so much altercation, but just that there was some tension with you guys that last day, and she said that that's what Jolene told you. That, you know, she said she overheard that. But
did an accident happen between y'all? I mean,
hey, I think Jolene's dead, and I think you know where Jolene is, and I don't want to go tell her ex. You know, I know that she didn't have a great relationship with her ex, but I know she loved those two boys. I don't want them to. I dread the point, but it's going to happen. I'm going to have to tell them that their mom is gone. Okay.
And we need to know where
but I need to at least let them be able to give her a proper. She's out there somewhere. Her body's out there somewhere. Let us get her buried properly, or whatever final arrangements they need to take care of. You know, I just want you to think about it for a minute. We're going to find out what happened. I don't mean that in a threat. I don't mean that in a bad way. I've been here for 4 days, almost 16, 18 hours a day, because I'm going to find out where those little boys' mama is. I promise you I'm going to do that. You can help me do that. And you're the one that can make it happen right now.
No, I cannot. And I'm not, again, whatever fury may come,
How did her blood
on your
get on your
So let me
shoes?
reply this way, and you may not like the answer.
As Kimberly is backed into a corner, her happy, charismatic demeanor changes, and we begin to see the real Kimberly Kessler.
I would like legal counsel. I haven't been able to call anybody. I haven't been able to call my mom, and I see how that works. And that may still continue to go on. I may not be able to call anybody, and you'll just stick me in jail, and I'll just sit there, and I can't call anybody, and on we'll go. That's fine.
I can't speak for what, when you were held down.
I couldn't call
a chance to make a
anybody.
phone
I
call.
couldn't call my mom. I couldn't call anybody.
I
Nothing.
can assure you, when you get to our facility, we will uphold the letter of the law as far as whatever their policy is and whatever legal and rights
And
you
I don't-
have, those will be upheld.
Well, they weren't so far, so I don't really even expect them to be. That's what I saw down there. They didn't pay attention to me. That's fine. I'm expecting that's what'll. I heard that Southern jails, that's what happened. So I'm like, I'm
That's not
perfectly expecting it to be really bad.
That's not
So,
going to happen here. I promise you that.
Virginia Beach,
So
jail, that was
do
pretty
you
bad.
not want to?
It was.
Let me clarify. Do
They
you not want to
extradited me
talk
from
to me?
Arizona.
Do you not want to talk to me without legal counsel? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you need a drink of water? Or do you need to go to the bathroom?
No, thank you.
If you need something, just knock on the door. We'll let you go to the restroom or get some water, whatever you want, okay?
All right, I'm good. Thank you.
In September 2018, Kimberly was officially charged with first-degree murder. While she was waiting in jail for her case to go to trial, Kimberly stopped eating food and began acting crazy. She claimed that the Illuminati was the reason behind her incarceration. Kimberly's lawyers would try their best to show the judge that she was insane and unable to stand trial. Prosecution would argue that she was aware of what she was doing, and she seemed very competent during her interrogation. They explained that it wasn't until she was put into a jail cell that she would begin acting crazy. This was her last chance to manipulate those around her. In the end, Kimberly's attempts at portraying an insane person would fail, and she would stand trial for the murder of Jolene Cummings. Her lawyers would argue that Jolene's body had never been found, and Kimberly had never confessed to taking her life. Prosecution would show the jury the overwhelming amount of circumstantial evidence, which would lead to her conviction. Kimberly would receive life in prison for the crimes she committed. To this day, Kimberly has never said she took Jolene's life, but on the other hand, she never said she didn't do it either.